Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Due to YouTube's changing quote-unquote community standards, I created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can see all of my stuff over there, including my political and social commentary, as well as my current events videos. The links to my YouTube and Rumble channels, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a historic haunting video on the Harrisville Haunting. Now, I've always found ghost stories to be riveting, but I take he said, she said stories with kind of a grain of salt. One person or a pair of people can be mistaken or duplicitous. It might even be a hoax, you never know. Either way, a few witnesses can be totally unreliable. That's why this story is so believable. There have been generations of witnesses, both local and out of town, who have seen, heard, and experienced tons of stuff. For the record, the movie The Conjuring was based on this house. The house in question is in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It was built in 1736. The story goes that one of the original residents of the house was Bathsheba Sherman. She was said to have been a witch who was caught sacrificing her child to Satan. She later committed suicide so she could inhabit the house forever. It is said that dozens of spirits inhabit the house, including Bathsheba, as well as more than one demonic entity. Now, the story with The Conjuring starts in 1971. The Perron family bought the house and the 200-acre property. It was the mother, the father, and they had 5 daughters. And from day one, paranormal experiences were the norm. An old man was seen in the house as they were moving in, and nobody knows who he was. One of the kids noticed him, and they thought it was just one of the neighbors or, some relative or whatever. They heard weird noises, footsteps, and whispers were all through the house. They heard all kinds of stuff. Household items seemed to relocate themselves throughout the house. Doors would open and close by themselves. Benevolent entities tucked the children in at night, and these entities were considered quote-unquote babysitters by the children. One ghost, a woman, would kiss the children goodnight on the foreheads. One entity would sweep the kitchen when nobody was around. So, yeah, in that respect, a lot of them may be benevolent. We don't know. All of this seemed harmless, and the family did not feel threatened. One neighbor did give them a warning to keep the lights on at night for the sake of the children. Then the situation became much darker. The children were attacked in the barn by unseen entities. They started hearing whispers about the dead bodies of 7 soldiers buried in the walls. So if you start hearing whispers about the dead bodies in the walls, that would get me. Starting in the early mornings, around 5:15, the smell of rotting flesh would move through the house. You'd just smell it in this place, and then they'd smell it over there, and you'd smell it over there. Now, rotting flesh, putrid smells are a sign of demonic activity. So, the children were being tortured by a male spirit. A woman in gray, possibly Bathsheba Sherman herself, threatened the mother with death and gloom. Evidently, the spirit felt that she was the mistress of the house and resented the mother as a rival. When the demonic entity possessed the mother, Ed and Lorraine Warren were called in to investigate. If you don't know who Ed and Lorraine Warren are, they are probably some of the most famous paranormal investigators in history. She was a medium, and he was I don't even know what you call him. I guess demonologist would be a word. But there's more to it. It wasn't just a demonologist. He was also watch the movie The Conjuring. You'll see what I'm talking about. The Warrens were one of the most renowned paranormal investigators in the world at the time, so they called them in. The Warrens attempted to help the mother with a seance conducted in the basement, but the seance did not go as planned. The mother was heard speaking tongues in a growling voice. Then she was levitated and then thrown across the room, while she was tied to a chair. The Perron family to this day is still being haunted, even though they no longer live there. It's crazy. The stories of this house are many and varied. Since the Perrons sold the house, the paranormal activity there persists. One owner was attempting to do some remodeling. He ran screaming from the house, literally. He left behind his car, his tools, and his clothes. He bought the house, was going to remodel it, and then he left screaming, left his car, his tools, and his clothes behind. The current owners, still the ones who live there now, still hear whispers and voices and footsteps throughout the house. Now, to be fair, I gotta throw a little, because this is a great story, but I want to throw a little water on the situation. To be fair, researchers have found records that say Bathsheba Sherman was a normal woman who had several children die young, and given that it was the 1800s, this was not uncommon. Be that as it may, that does not explain away all of the other paranormal activity that has been documented in the house. And when I say documented, oh my Lord, documented. There's photos and videos and affidavits, sworn affidavits. Everybody who's been in that house has experienced something. It's probably one of the most haunted places, not only in America, but in the world. So yeah, in that Harrisville farmhouse in Rhode Island, that's just it's freaking creepy. Okay, you couldn't get me to go in there. I'm not usually scared of much, but I have my concealed carry. I carry my pistol wherever I go, but what's a pistol going to do to that? That's all I'm saying. You folks have a good day now. God bless one and all. Clarissa Lowe, a historian from the future. Delmore Kane, a Civil War veteran turned outlaw. This oddball pairing faces a conspiracy of epic proportions spanning the centuries. If you like action and adventure westerns with a splash of science fiction and fantasy, check out my book series Drifters and their ongoing adventures.